This segment of Naperville Sports Weekly is brought to you in part by the Daily Herald.
Benet Academy girls basketball and Coach Peter Paul. We're here. A lot of things going on in the auxiliary gymnasium, but you guys have really been playing some great basketball until earlier this week. An 18-game winning streak. What was working so well?
Well, I think we shared the basketball. I think we, offensively, we were shooting the basketball very well. I thought defensively, we were guarding, the opposition very well. And I think, they gained confidence, and I think confidence also led to the 18-game winning streak.
In your time here, have you seen an extended winning streake like that?
I was asked that before, and I really don't remember. I know we've had winning streaks, but never that long. I think that's a part of this year's group.
The thing that really at least sticks out to me about your guys' roster, you think basketball, you think height, but you look at the roster, there's only one player over 6 foot. How much have you kind of had to adapt your style to, getting the system, the personnel, and kind of matching things up to a roster that doesn't have the most size?
Right. I think, we've changed our offensive system, and I think as we were talking before, and I think you need 5 kids that can handle basketball, and all of our kids basically can handle a basketball. They can pass the basketball. They can attack the basket. And I think that has helped. When we had the big kid in the middle, we had a different offense when we were actually pounding the ball in, and we just don't have that luxury.
How much have you kind of seen the girls' game evolve maybe to that a little bit more, where you have less of the teams feeding it inside to where you have more of this up tempo? I
was going to say, I think knowing our at Benet, I think the tall kids are all playing volleyball, so we've had to adapt a little bit. Our volleyball program has all the 6-footers. We've got one. So we've had to adapt where, in general, we can't pound the ball in because we don't have anybody. There's no double teams on the inside. We've had to create our own shot from the outside.
Another thing for you guys, it's a pretty tough, it's a strong conference in the East Suburban Catholic League. What is it about that conference that kind of prepares you for when we get to where we are next week?
Well, we always say, and I can use Bishop Mack as the barometer. I think they always point out that they go 500 in conference. They got a very good chance of winning the Class 2A title. To be very honest, I think our conference, and you can tell by, we've got either 3 or 4 teams. Last year we ended up with 5 teams out of the 9 in the top 20. So in general, I think it's a very, very difficult conference, and it does get you prepared for the post-conference season.
Another thing about your roster, we even did a story on it last year, is you have 2 sets of sisters in the Valentines and the Prassies. What's that like, coaching, not only, a team as a family, but you got 2 actual real families on the roster?
Right. I got to point out that the Prassie's mom also played at Benet. So I think we're very fortunate. We're very honored to have them. It makes life a little bit easier. I think they know one another and they look out for one another. Defensively, I think the Valentines just play great defense, and I think on the other end, the Prassies, they know one another and they look for one another, and offensively, they're dynamic.
And you talked about defensively. I think that's something that seems to get a little bit overlooked with the Valentines. You looked at that stretch that you guys had in the Christmas tournament where she's guarding Ashley Santos, and there were a couple other big name players that you guys were able to shut down.
Right. I think we always talk about it's easy for us because we, Taylor guards the biggest defensive, on a defensive end, I think she guards the most offensive tall person, and Nikki has a point guard, and we kind of adapt from there who guards whom.
A couple weeks ago, you guys taking part in the Willowbrook, the McDonald's shootout. Big game versus Waubonsie. People talked about the rematch from last year's sectional, and even the year before that. You guys tied up at halftime and then really come out in the second half and just kind of dominated.
I was going to say, I think we really came out and we dominated them, and I think they weren't expecting it, and I think maybe they got down a little bit because it was easier for us, Not saying, and I'll point that out, I think I told the kids we won the battle, but we still have a war to go.
How big was a win like that for you guys?
I think starting with the win against Fenwick, where we had the last second shot and we won that game, and I think that's what started the winning streak. And I think they believed in themselves, and it's very easy, I think, for us as coaches if the kids believe in themselves.
One of the players that doesn't really get talked about as much is Madeline Eilers, who is kind of dealing with the knee injury, was out the last 2 weeks. How much did you guys kind of need to adjust things without her?
Yes, I kind of pointed out, I think sometimes, and maybe last night was proof of that, it's very hard when you got 3 excellent shooters out there. 1, 2 may be off, but you still got the third one, and Madeline and Chrissy and Sid, they've all taken turns leading us offensively. And I think that, it's hard for somebody to shut down 3 people.
A couple years in a row now, at least 3, I think, actually, you guys are in the same sectional as Bolingbrook. They bring the number 1 seed, you guys are the number 2 seed. They knocked you out last year, you guys played with them in the first half. What does a team need to do to be able to match up with a team like Bolingbrook?
I think we said that's, if we get that far, that's the one game. Everything's got to be, stars got to be aligned, our shooters got to shoot. We got to limit them to 1 shot. We got to do all the things that we need to do to be successful.
How important is something, you mentioned limiting to 1 shot, getting some of those rebounds and really controlling? I imagine that's got to be a huge facet.
Right, especially when you play someone who's as tall as Bolingbrook is, and that's a tribute to our kids. We've got to be able to do that.
We're a week away from the postseason, with regionals starting next week. How does the style of the games change once we get into that postseason tournament?
It's in a way it slows down. It makes every possession more important than before. I think when a regular season game, if you didn't have a shot here or there, you didn't have a good game. Well, postseason, as we always talk about, every possession is critical. And hopefully we'll be on.
You've been here nearly 30 years as the head girls basketball coach here at Benet, longer teaching. Kind of what's kind of stuck out to you, that's been some of the more fun moments that you're going to remember?
Well, I think when as I said, I eventually you look down. Right now the winnings, you don't look at the total number of wins. I think once you retire, you can kind of go back and take a look at and say, what, we accomplished a lot. Right now, I think you're always focusing on the next game. You're focusing on regionals. It doesn't really play a role as much. I think once you retire, once you kind of look back on your career, I think I've been very fortunate to be in a place that I love to teach at and I love to coach at, and I got great kids to coach.
You talked about the here and now. You guys start the postseason next week. What's 1 or 2 things that you and the staff are kind of harping on as we get to that critical time?
Well, I think, as I pointed out, I think for us it is paramount. We got to limit our turnovers, and make every possession seem like it is the most important possession that we have.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you letting us come by.
Alex, I thank you. Hopefully I didn't show off my nerves. I'm very nervous on this.
Well, hey, good luck next week. I'm sure you guys will come out strong, and we're looking forward to it.
All right, thank you very much.